Now, with all of our own educated and billionaires, entrepreneurs, are we better off or not? The age-old tradition for graduates to wear graduate caps and gowns is very revealing. Do you know how the wearing of the symbolic cap and gown started? The custom started during the 12th century, when early universities were still beginning to be formed in Europe. But that's not all. Shocking, isn't it? But this began well before that, thousands of years before that. Happy to say that this is a modification of what is known as the cap of Puta. The one, if you have seen my some of my pictures, the one that I wear. Apprentice graduated to the degree level of master mason. So there is a lot of stuff going on there. Now, whose education? They say whoever controls the education of our children controls the future. Wilma Mankiller. You can get this from quarterly quotes. Whose education? What is education? Is it different from schooling? Why are we being educated in the first place? So you see, this is how we are educated from high school to associate, diploma or a bachelor's and then master's for 2 years and then doctorate. That children are sent to school everywhere as required by the law to go to school. And almost all schools are structured in the same way, and the learning is almost routinized. Our society goes to a great deal of trouble and expense to provide such schools and universities and colleges, so that at the end of the day we have educated individuals. We naturally assume that there must be some good logical reason for all this. But who is benefiting? Are we really benefiting from education? Let us ask first questions that are never addressed in any school. If you find anywhere at any level where these questions are addressed, please let me know. First, who are you? What are your natural skills? Of course, here they use the IQ test, which is completely useless. Are you an independent thinker? There is no way where this has been verified or asked or promoted. So our educational system fails to give us a total process for us to start off in life. There are many scholars that have come up in genetics and many other studies proving that every 7 years we change. Every 7 years we change. But that's not very correct, because that is disconnected from who you are, because you are connected to your mother through the 9-month cycle. So it should be every 9 months we change, or every period where 9 can divide into that number, we change. So every 9 years of 9 month series, that's when we change. That's the correct paradigm. That is natural and that is straightforward. Indigenous African spirituality chart shows where we start off, because we need two entities. We need external and internal discipline. So external discipline starts when you are young, with your father, with your family, with the relatives, ancestry, as well as tribe, friends, society, and the world and the earth. Then there are guided teachers and priests and priestesses and education. That's where our problem is. That's what we want to deal with. Of course, you can look at this diagram and go on up to sublimation, death, reincarnation, and the recycle into the unseen realm, in which if you fail somehow, you come back into the physical realm and begin again. This is the total knowledge that we can have, where we deal with the ritualistic, with the beliefs, with the faith, with the brain, with the mind, with the thoughts, with the spirit, with the reincarnation, death, and sublimation, of which our modern day education never ever allows you to venture into. It has a lot of other things that it does. Is modern education beneficial? Is there a hidden agenda or for this education? We know from the testimony of Norman Dodd, congressional testimony, who investigated the power of tax-exempt foundations in America, that there is a lot there. You can see this cartoon here, which is very informative, which is a child asking, why do I have to go to school? And the mother says, so you can be molded into a state-approved homogeneous drone that cannot think outside of the prescribed consensus. You learn to repeat information instead of how to think for yourself, so that you don't become a threat to the status quo. When you graduate, you get a job, pay your taxes in order to perpetuate the corporate system of indentured servitude. So this congressional report and investigation on the foundation that tampered with the schools and American life came up with this conclusion. The power of the individual large foundation is enormous. Its various forms of patronage carry with them elements of thought control. It exerts immense influence on educational process and educational institutions. It is capable of invisible coercion. It can materially predetermine the development of social and political concepts, academic opinion, thought leadership, as well as public opinion. This is what modern education has done. So modern education has been hijacked, and it is not beneficial to us. That's quite clear. It really is for community. Think about this seriously and go back to Ubuntu Mahati. Why? For us as black people, as Africans and or people of African descent, this is our philosophy, because within it there are certain tenets and certain gifts and certain paradigms, like totems, like family, child rearing, and so forth. This is what we all need. Ubuntu. How can one of us be happy if all the others are sad? Think about that and consider that under the concept of education. Let's compare modern educational systems and ancient educational systems. This is our ancestors who began and started education system, and one of their highest levels is known as Kemet or ancient Egypt. Kemetic education system required students to master a number of subjects: 7 liberal arts, grammar, rhetoric has to do with how you speak, grammar has to do with alphabet and writing, and coming up with good art. Logic is to think. Geometry has to do with geography, which has been removed or modernized, and now people think there are 5 continents, yet there is only 1 continent. Arithmetic is the base of our technology today. Harmony, now we have discord in music, and astronomy, that's our totemic higher self. Also, they to learn 10 virtues, which is the control of thought. This has never been taught. It's not being taught. Why? Because we are assuming and we are told to think that we are animals. Evolution. The control of action. This is why we have so many prisons. Why we have so many compromised systems like the judiciary, the police, and all the prosecution system, where the priest is no longer there. There is the lawyer who is looking at the words and stuff like that. Steadfastness of purpose, that's goal setting. Identity with the spiritual life to higher ideals, that is the netta or the divinity inside you. We shall show you something there. Evidence of mission in life, that's the talent we spoke of. Evidence of a spiritual call to orders or to priesthood in the mysteries. Freedom of resentment when under persecution or wrong, that is what we normally term as preparation unto death. That's what we say. Confidence in the power of the master and teacher are our ancestors. That's all we can say for now. Confidence in one's ability to learn and the readiness or preparedness for initiation. You can find this from one great book, Stolen Legacy by George James, which is shown here. So Granville Mona James, in his book Stolen Legacy, expounds upon the educational system of ancient Kemet, which we have already elaborated on. And the universities or houses of life, grammar, rhetoric, and logic eliminated irrationality. That's much more important. Most of the demons or most of the behaviors that we have are demonic. They need logic to eliminate that out. Geometry and arithmetic harbor the theories and techniques in which individuals eliminated problems. So if you have got a problem, you have to think in a geometrical or spatial or arithmetic sense. And astronomy gave individuals the ability to obtain knowledge. That's the key. We need astronomy. You need totems. You need this to obtain knowledge and examine destiny. Lastly, music serves as the living practice of philosophy. That's all. That's all we can do. Go to this website and see a lot of other stuff. So today's lesson is very critical. Because we now deal with the final and total dedication of life according to Hermit. So you have to become a scribe, a highly honored profession which requires discipline, a study directed by a master teacher. You have to be able to transform and change because of new knowledge. That's why in one of our videos we said what we teach today, come 30 years down the line, it might be modified or might not be taught again. Conduct independent study to improve oneself. Study nature or natural phenomena. Believe in one supreme creator. Unify one's consciousness with the universe and become like the supreme creator or the creator. Today, many of our thoughts and actions are controlled by the secret societies that hijacked education. Millions wander purposelessly. Many have no faith in our ancestors and worship at the altar of money and education, steeped in evolution and atheism, disbelieving that they can assimilate the truth, and the many have no faith in wielding to the truth. Many hold resentment under the experience of persecution or wrong, not knowing that by so doing, they're giving energy to the system that did wrong and destroyed our own lives. Many live in an unreal life because of modern education. What do you believe to be true about your identity will manifest. What you believe to be untrue will also manifest. What are you going to do to convince yourself you are a Ubuntu or African or black or of brown origins? Your true education should be carried throughout the process of initiation, where every day you become sublimated to the environment and grow mentally to enable your being to become closer to your ancestry, divinities, and nature. The current educational system emphasizes on individual gains, separate from society, and a social connection which has no blood connection or totemic connection, which is so-called professional connection or professional society. No wonder why we see individuals today that engage in extensive obliteration of the living organism or the environment for dollars and coins and gold and status. This is real education, to become the God dwelling in man, to reveal that, to become yourself, to become a divine being. In a 40-year program, educational program, that studied all the subjects that we have dealt with today, we have adopted a Western program of 17 to 21 years of study, whereas in ancient times, our ancestors took 40 years to master all of these subjects and to read and to become erudite. Do you want to think like our ancestors? First, the answer, whose education is in my brains? Answer that. What is education? According to us, it's not a juice or squeeze the best out of you, but it is reconnecting and activating my divinity or energy within. Reconnecting and activating my energy within. Is it different from schooling? Yes. Because education, you have to do it yourself. You can't be told by somebody. We can only trigger you to do that, to reconnect and reactivate your energy within. Why are we being educated today? To work for the masters, for the capitalists, for the controllers, for the government, to become automatons or to become robots in their hands. 3 steps are needed for us to reconnect and to become like our ancestors. To think like our ancestors, we have to learn their language. Modern Bantu is similar to hieroglyphics. Yes, black people in Africa who are still speaking a Bantu language are speaking hieroglyphics. That's clear. We have videos that prove that. Number 2, you have to read and write their alphabet. In other words, even if you speak a Bantu language, you have to learn hieroglyphics and think hieroglyphically or Madu nature. That's how you should think. Madama Anuera. Madu Anuera. Hieroglyphic is Bantu written in pictorial symbols. So these symbols are the ones that should be in your brain and in your thinking process. 3, you have to join a worthy community. Subscribe to our channel, Hamiti Buru Ethics. Send us an email on join@marifado.com, and also work with us, the spirit soul of the earth, so that we can become like our ancestors and really become really educated. This is Priest Rabbi Elem Dumizulu of Marifa Development Organization saying, Siabonga Tatenta Enkos. a dupe thank you.